Hello! Thank you for your interest in this video and welcome. This time I made a tart with berry frangipane and berry white chocolate Cremeux. It's not difficult to make and is absolutely delicious. First step, I made my favorite short dough for tarts and pies, and that is the Sablee dough. So it's a very basic short dough process. I smoothed out 150 grams of room temperature butter and added in the sugar and a pinch of salt. Whisk until everything is combined and kind of fluffy. I used to use a 2-to-1 ratio for butter to sugar, but over time I find that's just way too sweet for me. So I started doing 3-to-1, so that's 50 grams of icing sugar. Once it's good, I added in 25 grams of eggs, or about half an egg. I was actually using only yolks because I had some left over. But either way. And of course I added in 2 additions. Now it's time for the last ingredient, 225 grams of flour. Gently mixing the flour in to avoid too much gluten development. I did it in 2 additions, but dumping the whole thing in wouldn't have hurt. I was getting a little bit impatient, and so I started using my hand. Now it's time to chill in the fridge. Okay, now is the berry white chocolate Cremeux part. First off, I needed a berry puree. That's 275 grams of frozen mixed berries in a pot. Okay, I know that's not a pot and it's a mixing bowl, but let's just pretend that's a pot. Alright, so berries in a pot, on medium heat, I added 50 grams of sugar, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. And yes, that's me using a towel as mittens. Also, I promise I'll clean the stove. So I kept cooking it until the berries were all mushy. And then pureed it with the hand blender. And strain the puree to get rid of any of the skins or seeds. Why does the bowl look like I messed up something, you asked? Well, cause I did. I forgot to puree it before straining. Yep. Gorgeous, isn't it? To the puree, I added 4 egg yolks to make the curd/creme glaze part of the Cremeux. I'm not good at using direct heat, so I use a double boiler. And also, yes, that's me with my shirt as mittens. I cooked it until it really thickened up, around 65 degrees Celsius. And while it's still hot, I dumped the whole thing over 100 grams of white chocolate. In the bowl behind, I already had a leaf of silver gelatin already bloomed in cold water. Squeezed out as much of the water as possible before adding it to the curd and chocolate. With a hand blender again, I blended everything until smooth and homogeneous. Once it's good, I put it in the fridge to chill. Now back to the Sablee dough. Before rolling, it's a good practice to break it into a few pieces and re-knead it a little bit. That helps prevent the dough from cracking while you're rolling. The flour on the table was because I forgot to re-knead it and started dusting flour and started rolling. Don't do that. A little flour to prevent sticking. A little bit on top as well. Oops. I pre-shaded dough to a rectangle because I was using a rectangular mold. That seemed good enough, a little bit bigger than the mold itself. Now prepare yourself. I didn't mute this part of the clip, just so you can hear my real-time reaction. Let's see if I can pull it off. Aha! Woohoo! Okay. Now lift this, put it on. Roll it. Now! Although we can always patch it, the process was excruciating. Partly because I used way too much dusting flour. Dock the dough, as usual. Now before blind baking, the dough is to chill in the fridge for 30 minutes or so. Then it went into a 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 degrees Celsius oven for about 15 minutes. During which I used the leftover dough to make a few cookies and toasted some sliced almonds for later use. I also got a Frangipane ready. It's pretty much the same as the dough. I creamed together 75 grams of butter and 75 grams of granulated sugar, added in 75 grams of eggs in 2 additions, mixed in 75 grams of almond flour, and 5 grams of rum. Some people also call it almond cream, including myself, but according to one of my favorite pastry chefs, Julien, a Frangipane is almond cream with some pastry cream mixed in, resulting in a smoother and creamier texture. But for now, I think I'm just gonna keep calling it Frangipane because that's what I learned in school, and that's also how we call it in one of the places that I used to work at. Now the shell was out of the oven and has cooled down-ish, so I started spreading the Frangipane in the shell. Next is some mixed berries. I used frozen because I had a bag lying around. Once I felt I had enough berries, I popped the tart into the oven, 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 degrees Celsius, and baked it for about 35 minutes and rotated halfway as usual. Once it's cooled down, I added a layer of the Cremeux. Now it's the fun time, the garnish. I only got blackberries and raspberries because I was too cheap to get blueberries and strawberries as well. So some whole berries, some cut in half, facing down, facing up. You have fun. Also put some of the sliced almonds that I toasted earlier for some crunch and a nice nutty flavor. Overall, I'd say I'm very happy with the result. The Sablee is so short and tender, the Frangipane is rich, it's soft, it literally melts in your mouth. The Cremeux didn't turn out as good as I wanted, but the nice tangy flavor is definitely there. And the fresh berries and the nutty, very toasted almonds on top definitely made it even tastier. If you do try this tart out, please do let me know what you think. And as always, please hit the like button if you find this video intriguing and useful. It helps get a video out to more viewers. And consider subscribing to me for more videos in the future. Again, thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.